Hey you guys, this is Michelle Alonso and I'm a singer-songwriter and arranger, and today we're going to be continuing with our three-part series on how to write a catchy hook. So if you haven't checked out our first video, please go to the channel right now and check that out so that you can understand and write better hooks. In the previous video, we talked about the three types of hooks that there are, and today we're going to talk about some of the major characteristics that the greatest hooks have in common, okay? And the first characteristic is that great hooks are simple. That doesn't mean that they're not interesting. On the contrary, it can be quite a skill to be able to write something that's simple, interesting, and so engaging that you don't get tired of it, right? It's the less is more concept. Musically, this means that you don't have to have overly complicated rhythms and harmonies and intervals to make a great hook happen. In fact, most hooks have lots of on-the-beat patterns, repeated notes, chord progressions that stay in your mind. This is not to say that a hook can't be rhythmically or melodically or harmonically interesting, but we need to remember that when writing, we're serving the song, we're serving the message and the emotion that it's conveying. When we're trying to write catchy hooks, though, we need to explore the simplest elements, and that's very important to stay in our minds at all times. Let's go on to our second characteristic of the greatest hooks. Hooks are emotional. They connect to the heart of the listener. They convey a strong, compelling emotion. On top of that, they communicate the overall emotion of the entire song. So the emotion of the hook needs to be congruent, meaning it needs to match the emotion of the song. Now on to our third characteristic is that hooks are identifiable. We can easily tell which song it is by hearing just a little snippet of the hook. How does that happen? It's because of pattern recognition. Our brain recognizes patterns, right? So there needs to be some uniqueness in the pattern that makes it identifiable, so that as soon as the music starts playing, you know exactly what it is. So in music, we create patterns by using repetition, by using symmetry, and also by using articulation. So experiment with these concepts in your own music so that you can see how, for example, adding an accent here and there can make your hook come alive. So the fourth characteristic that great hooks have in common is that hooks are memorable, okay? Great hooks are memorable. You can easily remember a great hook. You're not going to forget it. And musically, we create things that are easy to remember through repetition, right? Through patterns. We just talked about this in the previous characteristic, right? So when we repeat things in the music, we're creating patterns, and it makes it easier for the brain to recognize and to remember. So this is very important. There are thousands of ways to create patterns in music, and when creating a memorable hook, you need to have that in mind. If you write a hook now and then in a few hours from now you can't remember it, chances are you need to keep at it. You need to still work on it until it's stuck in your head, right? So this is the power of memory. We need to use that in our favor when we're writing hooks. So now on to our fifth characteristic. Hooks are childproof. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that if a kid can remember, chances are that your hook is very catchy. And this is also related to memory, like we just said in the previous two categories. So make sure that your hooks are childproof. Test them out with the kids in your life. And so I want to share this story with you of a childproof hook that I wrote a few years ago, and I'll tell you what happened to it. So I'll play the hook for you so that you know what it is and so that you understand what's coming up. It goes like this. Your hands and feet, whoa, whoa. So I taught this song to the church that I was leading worship at the time. And then a few days later, one of the moms tags me in this Facebook video. I love this video because it was so surprising to see that these kids had heard the song in church one time, and days later they were doing their devotional together and they started just singing the song like that. It was such a spontaneous moment. The moms talked to me afterwards and it was just incredible. So that is really the power of a great childproof hook. So start paying attention to these elements in the hooks that you listen to and then incorporate them in your own writing. Now, next time I'm going to teach you a technique that's going to help you generate catchy hooks even when you have no ideas or no inspiration or no experience, or even if you are a pro. This is going to help everybody. So make sure you go down to the link below, download the PDF that I prepared just for this series to help you remember all of this material, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, and I will see you very soon with more music and song tips.